What if I told you that the ultimate weapon against garden pests and devastating plant diseases is sitting quietly in your kitchen cabinet right now? Yes, I am talking about that humble, inexpensive box of baking soda. Today, we are diving deep into the world of natural plant protection, and I promise you will never look at the simple white powder the same way again. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to turn baking soda into an absolute lifesaver for your dying plants. But here is the hook. Most people think that strong, expensive, and toxic chemical sprays are the only way to get a perfectly green, pest-free garden. That is a massive lie sold to you by garden centers. In fact, using synthetic chemicals might actually be destroying your soil's natural immune system. We are going to uncover the hidden truth about how changing the microscopic environment of your plants can make them practically invincible. Are you ready to ditch the toxic stuff and save some serious money? Tell me in the comments right now. Do you currently use chemicals on your plants, or are you strictly organic? Before we start mixing up magic potions, we need to understand what we are actually working with. Baking soda, scientifically known as sodium bicarbonate, is a naturally occurring alkaline substance. Historically, it has been used for centuries, dating back to ancient Egypt, where people used natural deposits of a similar mineral called natron for cleaning and preservation. But its journey into the garden is a bit more recent. In the agricultural world, scientists began noticing that certain fungal diseases simply could not survive in highly alkaline environments. Fungus thrives in slightly acidic, damp, and stagnant conditions. Baking soda completely disrupts that cozy little home. When applied correctly, it changes the pH level on the surface of the plant's leaves. It raises the alkalinity just enough to create a hostile, toxic wasteland for fungal spores, while remaining perfectly safe for the leaf itself. It is not magic. It is pure, basic chemistry. Let us break down exactly how you can harness this power for your own indoor jungle or backyard oasis. Let us start with the absolute biggest nightmare for any gardener: powdery mildew. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It is that dusty, white, flour-looking substance that suddenly coats the leaves of your squash, cucumbers, and beautiful zucchini plants. It looks like someone literally walked by and sneezed baby powder all over your garden. This fungus blocks the sunlight, stops photosynthesis, and slowly starves your plant to death. But here's how we fight back with baking soda. The classic recipe is mixing 1 TBSP of baking soda with 1 gallon of water. When you spray this mixture onto the infected leaves, the high pH of the sodium bicarbonate instantly alters the leaf surface. Powdery mildew spores simply cannot germinate or grow when the environment is this alkaline. Think of it like trying to grow a tropical palm tree in the freezing snow. It just will not happen. There is a common myth that spraying milk is the best cure for powdery mildew. While milk can work, baking soda is vastly cheaper, does not smell sour in the hot sun, and acts much faster to stop the spread of the spores. It is your first line of defense. Now let us talk about roses. Growing roses can sometimes feel like a full-time job, especially when black spot disease shows up. Black spot is a vicious fungus that causes dark, ugly circles on your beautiful rose leaves, which eventually turn yellow and drop off completely. This disease spreads quickly through splashing rain or overhead watering. To protect your prized roses, baking soda acts as an invisible shield. You want to start spraying your baking soda solution early in the spring, just as the new leaves are unfolding. Do not wait for the spots to appear. Prevention is the ultimate secret here. By coating the pristine leaves with a light alkaline layer, any black spot spores that land on the plant will be neutralized before they can dig into the plant tissue. Imagine putting a waterproof raincoat on your plant before the storm hits. That is exactly what the baking soda is doing. A brilliant illustration of this is to spray only half of your rose bush. After a few weeks of rainy weather, the untreated side will look ragged and spotted, while the side protected by baking soda will remain lush, green, and completely healthy. Moving on from diseases, let us tackle the tiny vampires of the plant world, aphids. These microscopic green, black, or red bugs cluster on the newest, most tender growth of your plants and literally suck the sap right out of the stems. They multiply faster than you can blink, but your kitchen pantry has the cure. When dealing with aphids, we modify our baking soda spray. We take our basic mixture of water and baking soda, but we add a crucial ingredient, 1 TSP of mild liquid dish soap. This is not just for bubbles. The soap acts as a sticky agent, helping the baking soda adhere to the bodies of the aphids. Because aphids have soft bodies, the alkaline nature of the baking soda, combined with the suffocating effect of the soap, disrupts their cell membranes. They dry out and perish very quickly. It is incredibly satisfying to spray a cluster of aphids and come back a few hours later to find the stem completely clear of the living pests. The myth here is that you need highly toxic neurotoxins to kill bugs. You do not. You just need to understand their biology and use simple chemistry to ruin their day. Another microscopic enemy that strikes fear into the hearts of houseplant lovers is the dreaded spider mite. These pests are so small, they look like walking dust. And you usually only notice them when you see tiny, intricate webs stretching between the leaves of your favorite indoor plants. Spider mites absolutely love dry, hot, and stagnant air. They despise moisture and alkalinity. This is where your baking soda spray becomes a double threat. By lightly misting your infested houseplants with a weak baking soda solution, you are doing two things. First, you are raising the humidity around the plant, which spider mites hate. Second, the baking soda creates a gritty, alkaline surface on the leaf that is incredibly uncomfortable for them to walk on and feed through. It is like forcing them to walk barefoot across hot coals. A great trick is to take a soft makeup brush, dip it in your baking soda solution, and gently paint the undersides of the leaves where spider mites hide their eggs. This physically removes the webs and leaves a protective, microscopic crust that stops the next generation from hatching. Let us step away from delicate leaves for a moment and look down at your driveway or patio. Weeds growing in the cracks of concrete are incredibly annoying, and spraying chemical weed killers where your pets and children walk is a terrible idea. Baking soda is your ultimate eco-friendly weed assassin. But how does it work here? In this case, we use it in its dry powder form. You simply take handfuls of pure baking soda and sweep it directly into the cracks where the weeds are growing. The high concentration of sodium in the baking soda pulls the moisture straight out of the weed's root system. It essentially dehydrates the weed to death from the bottom up. In a few days, those stubborn dandelions and crabgrass will turn brown and shrivel away. There is a very important warning here, though. You must never use dry baking soda as a weed killer in the middle of your green lawn or your flower beds. The heavy dose of sodium will ruin the soil and kill the good plants right alongside the weeds. This method is strictly for isolated cracks in concrete, stone pathways, or brick patios where you want zero plant life to exist. Did you know that baking soda can also act as a free scientific testing kit for your garden soil? Understanding your soil's pH level is the difference between struggling plants and a thriving harvest. Some plants love acidic soil, while others demand a more alkaline environment. Instead of buying expensive testing kits, you can use baking soda and vinegar. Here is the experiment. Scoop up a little bit of soil from your garden and put it into a small cup. Add some distilled water to make a muddy paste. Now sprinkle a generous amount of baking soda on top of the mud. If the mixture starts to bubble, fizz and foam up. Congratulations, you have acidic soil. The baking soda, which is a base, is reacting violently with the acids in the earth, just like a classic middle school volcano science project. If absolutely nothing happens, your soil is likely neutral or already alkaline. This simple 2-minute test can save you months of frustration. You will finally know why your blueberries, which love acid, are thriving, while your lilacs, which prefer alkaline soil, are refusing to bloom. Speaking of soil chemistry, let us talk about growing the ultimate summer prize, the perfect sweet, juicy tomato. There is an old gardener's tale that burying sugar near your tomato plants will make the fruit taste sweeter. Let me completely debunk that myth right now. Sugar in the soil does nothing but attract ants and pests. Plants cannot absorb sugar through their roots. However, baking soda can actually help you achieve a sweeter tomato. Tomatoes generally prefer slightly acidic soil to grow strong, but if the soil is too acidic, the fruit can end up tasting very tart and sharp. If you lightly sprinkle just a tiny dusting of baking soda on the surface of the soil around the base of your tomato plant, being careful not to touch the stem, it gently lowers the acidity of the topsoil. As you water the plant, this mild alkaline buffer washes down and helps the plant absorb nutrients differently, which can result in a noticeably sweeter, more robust flavor profile in the final fruit. It is a subtle trick used by competition tomato growers to balance out overly acidic compost. Let us bring our focus back indoors to your leafy houseplants. Over time, large leaf plants like monsteras, ficus, and rubber trees accumulate a thick layer of household dust. This dust acts like a blanket, blocking sunlight and literally suffocating the plant because it clogs their stomata. Stomata are the tiny pores on the leaves that the plant uses to breathe. Wiping them with plain water often just smears the dirt around. Instead, create a very weak cleaning solution. Dissolve just half a teaspoon of baking soda in a quart of warm water. Dip a microfiber cloth into this mixture. Wring it out well and gently support the leaf with one hand while you wipe it with the other. The very mild abrasiveness of the dissolved baking soda lifts the sticky dust and grime effortlessly, while the alkaline nature acts as a very mild sanitizer against ambient mold spores. Your plants will look incredibly shiny, but more importantly, they will suddenly be able to photosynthesize at maximum capacity. It is like taking your plant out of a dark, dusty closet and putting it in the fresh air. If you are growing vegetables like cabbage, broccoli, or kale, you know the absolute heartbreak of the cabbage worm. These fuzzy green caterpillars blend perfectly with the leaves and can eat an entire head of cabbage in a matter of days. Chemical pesticides are toxic, especially on things you plan to eat. Here is an ingenious, completely non-toxic trap using baking soda. You mix equal parts of plain white baking flour and baking soda in a shaker jar. Early in the morning, when the plants are still covered in sticky dew, dust this dry mixture heavily over the cabbage leaves. The cabbage worms are ravenous eaters. They will eat the flour and baking soda mixture right along with the leaf tissue. When the baking soda enters their highly acidic digestive tract, it immediately reacts and creates carbon dioxide gas. Because caterpillars cannot pass gas, the expansion is fatal to them. It sounds like a strange science fiction movie, but it is an incredibly effective, cheap, and totally food-safe way to protect your brassica crops from being devoured. Another garden monster that destroys young seedlings overnight is the slug. Slugs and snails emerge in the dark, damp hours and glide across your garden, chewing massive holes in your hostas and lettuce. For decades, the gardening myth has been to crush up eggshells and place them around the plants. The idea was that the sharp edges would cut the slugs. Science has proven this false. Slugs can literally crawl over razor blades without getting hurt because of their thick mucus layer. Eggshells do not stop them, but baking soda definitely does. Because baking soda is a salt compound, it is pure kryptonite to slugs. If you create a solid, thin ring of dry baking soda on the soil around your most vulnerable plants, you create an impenetrable fortress wall. When a slug attempts to cross the baking soda barrier, the alkaline salt immediately reacts with their slimy coating, causing severe dehydration. They will immediately turn around and seek an easier meal. Just remember to reapply the ring after a heavy rain, as water will wash the barrier away into the soil. Every good organic gardener has a compost bin, but sometimes things go horribly wrong. A healthy compost pile should smell like rich, dark earth. But if you have added too many wet green materials like grass clippings or rotting fruit, the pile can become anaerobic and highly acidic. Suddenly, your garden smells like an open sewer, and your neighbors are starting to complain. This sour, rotting garbage smell is a clear sign that the pH of your compost has crashed into the acidic danger zone. Baking soda is the fastest emergency rescue for a stinky compost bin. By sprinkling a cup or two of dry baking soda evenly over the top of the smelly pile and turning it in with a pitchfork, you rapidly neutralize the excess organic acids. It acts exactly like an antacid tablet does for an upset human stomach. Within 24 hours, the foul odors will dissipate, and the beneficial bacteria in the compost can get back to work breaking down the materials properly. It saves your compost and it saves your relationship with the people living next door. We all love bringing fresh-cut flowers from the garden into our homes, but nothing is more depressing than seeing your beautiful roses or peonies wilt and drop their petals after just 2 days in a vase. The water turns cloudy, starts to smell bad, and the stems get slimy. This happens because bacteria rapidly multiply on the tap water and clog the stems, stopping the flower from drinking. You might have heard the old wives' tale of dropping a copper penny into the vase to keep the water fresh. This is a complete myth. Modern pennies are mostly zinc and do absolutely nothing for flowers. The real secret is baking soda. Add just one small pinch, about a quarter of a teaspoon, of baking soda to the vase water. The slight increase in alkalinity drastically slows down the reproduction of the bacteria. The water stays crystal clear for days longer. The stems remain open and healthy, and your beautiful cut flowers will easily last twice as long on your kitchen table. It is the cheapest floral preservative in the world. Ants in the garden are a complicated issue. While they do aerate the soil, they also act like microscopic mob bosses. Ants actively protect, defend, and literally farm aphids on your plants so they can harvest the sweet honeydew the aphids produce. If you want to get rid of aphids, you often have to deal with the ants first. Chemical ant baits are dangerous around pets and birds. Instead, we use the Trojan horse method with baking soda. Ants are smart, and they will not eat plain baking soda. You must disguise it. Mix equal parts of baking soda and powdered confectioner's sugar. The powdered sugar is crucial because the grains are the exact same size as the baking soda. Granulated sugar will not work because the ants will simply pick out the sugar and leave the soda behind. Place this sweet, dusty mixture in small, shallow lids near the ant trails. The worker ants are drawn to the sugar, carry the mixed powder back to the colony, and consume it. Just like with the cabbage worms, the baking soda reacts with their digestive acids, naturally and safely eliminating the colony. If you grow indoor plants, you have undoubtedly battled the incredibly annoying fungus gnat. These are the tiny black flies that hover around the soil of your potted plants and fly directly into your face when you're reading on the couch. Fungus gnats lay their eggs in the top inch of moist potting soil. The eggs hatch into microscopic larvae that feed on fungi in the soil, and worse, chew on the delicate roots of your plants. Letting the soil dry out is the first step, but baking soda provides the knockout punch. Mix a very weak solution of 1 tsp of baking soda in a quart of water. Use this solution to lightly water the top layer of the soil. You do not want to soak the whole pot, just the top inch where the larvae live. The baking soda slightly raises the pH of that top layer, creating an alkaline zone that is highly lethal to the soft-bodied gnat larvae. It breaks the life cycle instantly. No more larvae means no more flying adults annoying you in your living room. It is a completely odorless and indoor safe pest control method. A hidden danger in every garden is dirty tools. When you use your pruning shears to cut away a diseased, fungus-covered branch, those invisible fungal spores stick right to the metal blades. If you then walk over to a perfectly healthy plant and make a cut, you have just manually injected the disease into the fresh wound. It is like a doctor using dirty scalpels. Keeping your tools clean is vital, but bleach is highly corrosive and will rust your expensive clippers instantly. Baking soda is the perfect gentle sanitizing scrub. Create a thick paste using 3 parts baking soda and 1 part water. Use an old toothbrush to aggressively scrub the metal blades of your pruners, trowels, and shovels. The mild abrasive action physically scrapes away dried sap and dirt, while the high alkaline environment neutralizes lingering fungal spores and bacteria. Rinse them with clean water and dry them thoroughly. You now have perfectly sanitized tools without using dangerous chemicals that degrade your equipment over time. Now we need to discuss a critical secret about making DIY plant sprays that most internet tutorials completely forget to mention. If you just mix baking soda and water in a spray bottle, it will not work properly. Water has high surface tension. When you spray plain water on a waxy plant leaf, it beads up into little round drops and rolls right off onto the ground, taking your baking soda with it. To make your natural fungicide actually work, you must add a surfactant. A surfactant breaks the surface tension of the water, allowing it to spread out evenly and stick to the leaf like a second skin. As mentioned earlier, a few drops of mild dish soap work great, but to make an absolute powerhouse spray, add your 1 tsp of pure neem oil along with the soap and baking soda. The soap helps the oil and water mix. The neem oil acts as an organic pesticide and helps the baking soda stick tenaciously to the leaf surface, even through light rain. This three-part mixture is the holy trinity of organic plant defense. Timing is everything when it comes to applying any foliar spray, including baking soda. There is a dangerous myth that you should water and spray your plants in the middle of a hot sunny day when they look wilted. This is a fatal mistake. If you spray your baking soda solution onto your plants at high noon under a blazing sun, you will cause severe damage. The tiny droplets of water act like thousands of microscopic magnifying glasses, intensifying the sun's rays and literally burning holes into the leaf tissue. Furthermore, the rapid evaporation of the water will leave behind a highly concentrated layer of baking soda salt, which can burn the plant through chemical phytotoxicity. The absolute best time to apply your baking soda protection is in the early evening, just as the sun is starting to set. This gives the liquid time to spread out, dry slowly, and leave a perfectly even protective barrier. The plant has the whole night to recover, and it will be fully armored and ready to fight off pests and fungal spores when the sun rises the next morning. While we are praising the magic of baking soda, we must also talk about the dark side. Too much of a good thing can become a disaster. You must remember that baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. The key word there is sodium, salt. Plants generally hate salt. If you spray your plants with a highly concentrated mixture, or if you spray them every single day, that sodium is going to wash off the leaves and accumulate in your soil. Over time, a buildup of sodium in the soil prevents the plant's roots from absorbing essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. The leaves will turn yellow, the edges will crisp up, and the plant will slowly decline. This is known as salt toxicity. The rule of thumb is moderation. You should only use baking soda sprays every 10 to 14 days as a preventative measure, or strictly when dealing with an active outbreak. It is a powerful medicine, not daily drinking water. Always follow the recipes exactly and never think that adding more powder will give you better results. It will only poison your soil. If you are a serious gardener with a large plot of land and you are worried about the potential sodium buildup we just discussed, there is an incredible professional upgrade you should know about. It is the secret weapon used by large-scale organic farms. Instead of using sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda, they use potassium bicarbonate. It works in the exact same mechanical way. It radically raises the pH on the leaf surface, destroying powdery mildew, black spot, and soft-bodied insects instantly. The massive difference is the element it leaves behind. Instead of leaving toxic sodium in the soil, it leaves behind potassium. Potassium is one of the three major macronutrients that plants desperately need to grow strong roots and produce large flowers and fruits. It is the letter K in the NPK ratio on fertilizer bags. You can easily buy pure potassium bicarbonate online. It is slightly more expensive than kitchen baking soda, but it turns your powerful fungicide into a beneficial foliar fertilizer at the same time. Let us look at the final undeniable reason why you need to switch to baking soda for your plant protection. It all comes down to your wallet and our planet. A single bottle of synthetic chemical fungicide at the hardware store can easily cost you over $20. And most of the time, the label tells you not to use it on anything you plan to eat. A box of baking soda costs about $1. One single tablespoon mixed into a gallon of water means that an entire gallon of highly effective organic plant protection costs you roughly 3 cents to make. It is practically free. More importantly, when it rains, the runoff from synthetic chemicals washes straight into our storm drains, rivers, and local ecosystems, poisoning fish and beneficial insects like bees and butterflies. When baking soda washes away, it completely breaks down into harmless, natural elements. You are saving a massive amount of money, protecting your family from toxic residues on your homegrown food, and doing a small but vital part to protect the environment. And there you have it, the incredible game-changing secret hiding right inside your kitchen pantry. Who would have thought that a simple $1 box of baking soda could replace an entire shelf of expensive, toxic garden chemicals? We have uncovered how a tiny shift in alkaline chemistry can completely decimate powdery mildew, stop black spot in its tracks, and send aphids and spider mites running for their lives. We learned that the real secret is not just the powder itself, but how you apply it. Mixing it with a little dish soap and oil, spraying only as the sun sets, and being incredibly careful not to salt the earth beneath your precious plants. The ultimate plot twist is that the gardening industry wants you to believe plant care is complicated and expensive. But nature provides simple, brilliant workarounds if you know the science behind them. So before you rush out to buy another bottle of poison, give this natural miracle a try. Thank you so much for watching and learning with us today. If this guide on the hidden power of baking soda has changed the way you look at the simple ingredients in your pantry, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We are unearthing the natural secrets that the big chemical companies have tried to keep buried. Let's grow a greener future together. Our next garden treasure will be revealed very soon. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these baking soda hacks are you going to try first? Are you battling aphids, or is powdery mildew your worst enemy? Drop your answer in the comments below and let us get a discussion going.